breaking the wall of genetic barriers. How mRNA technology revolutionizes medicine. Katalin Karikó, University of Szeged.
On November the 9th, 1989, I was in our apartment in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
Hello. I did not come empty-handed. I get the Nobel Prize just before I forget to show, especially to the young one, before they will receive their own one. This is how it will look. I grew up in Kisújszállás, a small agricultural town in Hungary. My parents had only elementary school education. My father was butcher, my mother bookkeeper, and early on I learned that hard work part of life and how to make sausage. My parents, with my older sister and me, we lived in a small house and with big garden. And so the wonder is, how did I get from this simple life, single room house, no running water, here in front of you, telling you about my story? I was a curious girl. I like to watch nature. I watched the neighbor cow gave birth, and I wanted to understand everything about it. So early on, when I was in elementary school, you know, my sister was very good, and she's 3 years older, and everybody, when you have an older siblings, expect that you are doing well. And I started to compete in geography, biology, and chemistry. And when I was not doing well, I always, tried to inspire myself to learn more. And eventually, at 14 years old, I was third best in Hungary in biology. The competition was in Budapest, and my father put me on the train, 150 kilometers from Budapest, that go to the competition. Yes, and recently I found a book that I started to write already when I was 13. I wanted to know all about the animals, and okay, don't look very close to this lobster, it has extra legs, but that's okay, you can expect this from a 13 years old. I don't even know why I started to draw animals, because I always love plants. I wanted to know the name of all of these plants, and then I had this Hungarian dictionary, I look it up, and I noticed that there is an extra name, some Latin name, and after that there is a capital L. I learned that it stands for Linné. So when the high school, I was still in elementary school, high school advertised to write an essay about your favorite scientist, I wrote about Linné. I figured out how smart he is, that each living organism has to be unequivocally defined by a name. And I was just amazed, and maybe that's why I am very, very well organized. So again, I already wrote a book and an essay, and so it seemed that I always set up a goal. That's like that, set up a goal. I didn't get extra point for that, but, set up and then submit, work on it, submit, and that's it. I never get anything from this essay on Linné. But it's not important. Important goal and work towards it. Of course, when my goals, which I set up later on in life, it was more challenging, then reality hit. And so I had to come out, and break down lot of walls. I wouldn't sit here in front of you if high school I wouldn't learn how to handle stress. And you know, sometimes just reading one book can change the life, and it changed my life forever. So in high school, we sent letter to Hungarian scientists because we couldn't speak English. And then we get response, and we were so inspired by Seje. Seje was a Hungarian scientist in Canada, and he coined the word stress in 1930. Prior to that, it was only in physics. And he demonstrated that stress can kill you. But not the stress itself, but how you perceive it. He also mentioned that you need positive stress, excitement, anticipation that we are gathering together. You know, that's what makes you get out from bed in the morning. If you don't have positive stress, then, you know, you're still in bed. And so what is important is you have to learn how the negative stress you turn to positive. And so later I learned that what philosophy he was promoting, actually it is the Stoic philosophy. You focus on things, what you can do, what you can change. And do not complain, do not blame others, and do not compare yourself. That's especially the young one I am saying. Constantly you are comparing yourself to somebody else. And you conclude that you are better, but somehow this other is advancing. If you already pay attention on this one, you did not pay attention what you can change, because you cannot change that. So I also learned, you know, that do not do revenge, you know, slashing tire of the boss or something. Don't do that, because it hits you back. It escalates. So you have to think what Seje suggested, to feel gratitude towards somebody. You know, you were just ready to set a revenge, because then you can calm down and it won't hit back. It also said that don't carry grudge against anybody, because it poisons you. Another person wouldn't even remember what you are upset. So these are the things, and then one major message, I put it up there. If you want to do something, you find a way. If not, you find excuses. So just remember that when you find excuses. And so I, after, you know, learn all this elementary and high school, and went to University of Szeged, where I started to work with lipids. I never wanted to work with lipids. I love plants, but, you know, so I knew something because my father was butcher. I knew about lipids, but that was a different thing. You know, we wrapped up DNA in it, delivered to the cells, and one day, you know, the boss from the RNA team came and suggested that if I want to make my PhD, then I can join his team. So I am not a visionary. If end of this talk is not convinced that I am one of you, I had no special talent, no vision. I just always went with the flow. It is just, I could focus. And this is very difficult in these days because, you know, when I was young, it was easy. There were no telephone, no TikTok and other things. But it is also very important to have a good family background. I married 45 years ago. We just celebrated this with my husband. My daughter yesterday was 43 years old. And my daughter happened to be 2 times Olympic champion and 5-time world champion. So, you know, when they told me, you know, a couple of years ago that, oh, Kati, nobody knew about you, you know, I said all of the rower knew I was Susan's mom. And of course, when now she's coming with me, you know, is usually, you know, she's Kati's daughter. Yes. So I worked in a laboratory in the United States, different places, but in this, if you have never seen a lab, this is how it looks. I work It's very nice and tidy because I like order. I just mentioned Linné, yeah? And, the budget was low. You can see no lab coat, no gloves, no nothing. But I managed it. And so I worked by myself because I couldn't get grant. So I tried to explain why I didn't get grant. So because what you do your research. And you get the result, and then, you publish it, because you have something to say and want to share the result. And then you write a grant because you want to expand your team and do more work. So from this one, I never get the big bag of money. I went back again to do more research, so it was a short circle for me. But other people get money, funding. And what happened is that as they get bigger team, now students joined, and now that they publish because the student had to graduate. And also they publish, they have nothing to say, or not much, because the PI want to promotion. And so that's how I see that, the scientific knowledge versus the career is the same path. So I try to explain why I never get that. Anyway, what happened is I think that the goal of research should be to understand nature. But the 21st century scientists want to publish in Nature. So that's... Because, if your goal is to understand nature, you're even happy when you see somebody is publishing what you are just working, because you want to understand, and you are happy that, we have more knowledge. But nobody is nodding that, I am very happy when somebody is just scooping my research. Yeah, so I was never disappointed because, I want to understand nature. And so with Drew Weissman, I met him at the Xerox machine. Probably the young one don't even know there what this copy machine is there. But it was 1997 and only 2002 when I started to collect the digital papers and reading there. But luckily, the progress was not that fast. So 97, we still copied. And I met Andrew, was interested in developing vaccines. I want to develop mRNA for therapy. And by that time, 10 years, I worked on RNA. I did not know that RNA I am making is inflammatory. But then, we together, Drew could make these special immune cells and dendritic cells, and we found that the RNA I'm making inflammatory. And we asked the question, is all of the RNA is inflammatory? And because 10 years I already collected different RNA, so we tested out, and we found that no, not all of the RNA, the tRNA, transfer RNA was not inflammatory, and that gave the idea that maybe modification of the nucleoside is important. So we didn't set out to make a vaccine and to make it something, non-inflammatory. We didn't even know that it exists because we are scientists. We are just doing things which we believe maybe exist and trying because, we are super optimistic. Anyway, so that we changed one nucleotide in this RNA because it has 4 building blocks, and when it was pseudouridine, it was non-inflammatory. So this is what happened exactly like 5 years ago. Actually, today is November 9. If you remember 5 years ago, November 9, when it was announced that the vaccine was effective. Yes, and... And here we are with Drew Weissman, with camera, and they gave us in December 2020 the vaccine, and after that, was this, a couple of years later, this Nobel Prize ceremony, and whoever is important. My husband, my daughter, who are always supporting me, my sister was there. Those are in the middle. Is my teachers from University of Szeged, and those who supported me in University of Pennsylvania. My daughter's in the middle, again, on the ceremony, she overshined me. She was... she get the best dress, voted based on the TV viewers. Yeah, so that's my life. And recently, and actually, last month she get a statue in Hungary, for the achievement I didn't get yet. Anyway, so this was my life, and I specifically made this for you. Timeline of my career. At the beginning was nice and up. At age 30, they dismissed me from Hungary, and I lost my job. And then I found another job in the United States. And then 3 years later, my supervisor, he loved me very much because I worked day and night, and he wanted to keep me. But then, when he learned that I get the Johns Hopkins offer, he made sure that they will withdraw that, and I was subject deportation, and he kicked me out. And then I found a job in University of Pennsylvania. So this is what happened. They kicked me out in Hungary. Finally, I get faculty in the Ivy League school. And so there, again, the happiness was not too long because, they demoted me from the faculty position. But I said, the bench is here. I am in the United States of America. Where else, if not here, I can do the research? And so I did major discoveries. And then at age 58, I was kicked out. I was forced to retire because I was not getting the money. The bag was missing. And then, I tried to go somewhere, and because I felt that I still have a lot to offer, and that's how I ended up in Germany. Left my family behind, and in an attic, for 3 months, every day I went to work, dressing up from my suitcase. And that's, prepared me for those awards things, which was recently constantly dressing. And so this is just telling you, this curve, ups and downs, so how many times I hit the bottom. And what is important is, listen, you might get kicked out. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't complain. And don't spend any energy on try to justify, try to get it back. It is done. All your energy is what next, because that's what you can change. And that's how I did also. Thank you.